During this tutorial, we will look at how to populate a drop-down or list object using data from an external data source. An important feature of the drop-down and list objects is that they have two elements that can be populated with different data: the caption and the value. In this example, we will populate a drop-down object, but the same techniques can also be used with a list object. In many cases, this type of lookup would be triggered when a form or page is opened, but other events could also be used. From the integration toolbox, we will use the connect command. Select the connection and action that will already need to be set up in the connections dashboard. This is covered in other tutorial videos. The Properties panel is now populated with the parameters set up for the select action. However, unlike the connect and search command demonstrated in a previous tutorial, there are no search or show checkboxes displayed. The connection command will be triggered when the form is opened and will work in the background without any interaction by the form user. In the return parameters, notice that there are three checkboxes in the right-hand column. These are used specifically when populating data into drop-down and list objects, and determine which element of those objects the data from a specific parameter will be populated into. In this example, we want to populate the company name into the caption element of the drop-down. So we check the first column for caption in the company name parameter. In the value element, we want to populate the ID. So for the ID parameter, we check the second checkbox for value. We will consider how to use the third checkbox later in this tutorial, but first let's test what we've done so far by previewing the form. Notice that the drop-down has now been populated with all of the data from the selected data source. Also notice, however, that the first record in the drop-down has been selected automatically, and in some cases we might not want that to happen. This is where that third checkbox plays its part. We'll close the preview and return to the connect command. By simply checking both third checkboxes, we can ensure that no selection is automatically made when the drop-down is populated. Let's preview again to check how this will look to the form user. Please do be aware that although we haven't done so in this example, we can use the filter options demonstrated in a previous tutorial to filter the data returned into the drop-down or list object. There's also something that's very important to consider for workflow forms which are opened several times by different people in the process. Under normal circumstances, you will only want the drop-down to be populated the first time a form instance is opened. If the drop-down gets populated again when the instance is opened later in the process, then any previous selections will get deleted. For workflow forms, therefore, we need to add in extra logic so that the lookup is only triggered when the form opens for the first time. In this example, that's at the new request stage. So let's close the preview and add in that logic. A simple branch command will be used with the condition workflow stage equals new request, and the true path from that command would then link to the connect command. We can now be sure that this lookup will only be triggered when a new instance is created.